Welcome back to the Naruto Anime review. This is part 2 of the review. This time we're moving on to Naruto Shippuden. This part is going to be sort of basically a partial background of the show and of course discussing the first 2 seasons of the show. Why not? It's not a bad idea to do. Now in the case of the show itself, the show Naruto went down the same route Dragon Ball did, where it ended its show after a certain period of time and was relaunched under a different just add one word to the title, and it became a very long-running series. So long-running that it's even longer than the previous show. Now, Naruto was 220 episodes. This current show is 493, with 494 airing this coming week. I will get to season 21 soon. I just wanted to talk about basically a bit of background on the series, what I can tell about it, and of course discussing the first 2 seasons of the show. Now, the thing about this show is that it has more filler, and that's the reason why it's over 400 episodes long, despite the fact it takes up a good chunk of the manga. Now, pretty much starting with the whole series adapts chapters 225 to 699. As far as I know, I don't think that the people who are doing the anime had plans to adapt the final chapter because they want to tell more story, and also because Naruto Shippuden is one of the highest viewed animated shows in Japan. Currently right now, its biggest competitor is Dragon Ball Super, which has not been around for too long. In the case of Shippuden has only been on the air for 10 years, while in the case of Super, it's been on the air for a little over a year. Despite the fact it's had 21 seasons. Now, there is a reason for that. Because of the fact these seasons keep basically, now over here, the seasons have only been about 9 seasons because these seasons are really long and they're over 50 episodes apiece. That's just the way that they are depicted over here. Over in Japan, they are in fact 21 seasons. Yes, and they pretty much follow like Dragon Ball, add something to it, Dragon Ball Z, and of course it became much more longer series than the previous one. But unlike Dragon Ball, when it changed Dragon Ball Z, where certain characters changed their attire, did not change their attire when it changed over, Shippuden did do that because it's based upon part 2 of the Naruto manga. In season 1, you got a chance to see a handful of characters get new outfits. Naruto himself, let's start up with him. Naruto got a completely new outfit from top to bottom. The only thing that remained is the metal thing from his previous headband. It was explained I think in the following episode it was explained kind of like either I don't remember if it was the first or second episode, that the reason why he had to change his outfit was because it had gone under severe beating during the training he went through over the course of the 3-year jump. So his boots are now black instead of blue. He's got from what I can tell, his pants are still orange, except it has a black outliner on it. In the case of his jacket that he wears, it's basically black. Mostly, it's more black on top with a little bit of orange. And the big open poofy collar he had in the first part, this one is a bit smaller and shrinks to his neck. And also his headband cloth is black now. And also his personality changed a little bit. He's still pretty much a goofball and a doofus, but he's not like hyperactive like he was in part 1. Basically, he got a little more serious thanks to the training he endured over the course of the 3-year jump. Sakura, pretty much the top of her outfit did not change. It's the same outfit, same part of the outfit, except she replaced the little, whatever you call it, part of her outfit. It's like she cut that off and replaced what looked like to be shorts, and she wears these long purple boots that look like high heels, and she wears gloves now. Yeah, there's no explanation of why she wears gloves. She just wears gloves, and her headband changed from blue to red. And Yeah, and also Team Guy got new tire. Team Guy and Team 10 got new tires as well. In the case of Team Guy, Rock Lee, his only change was the fact that, because the fact gets revealed in episode 2, that he got promoted to Choni, he got a battle vest. That is the only change he got. Neji got completely different attire. What looked more like a robe, per se, and 1010 was pretty much the same way as well. Though they cut down on Neji's bit stubborn and arrogance toward Naruto. They cut that down severely. It was way over the top in the first series, and they really cut it down. 1010 is still pretty much the same personality-wise. In the case of Team 10, Shikamaru, who was seen pretty early on, he didn't go with that much change. They switched out the outfit he was wearing in part 1 and gave him a full bodysuit. And of course, the headband, which he had sort of like clapped onto his arm, it's now basically part of his attire. Basically, he took the metal part of his headband off and pretty much put it on his suit. And that's really the only change they made to him. In the case of Ino, they pretty much kept... She still wears purple. But this time she actually is no longer having the poofy collar. She actually shows up a little bit more skin because she's older now. Because she's 16. She's got like a sleeveless top. Not like in the case of some other characters where you just cut off the sleeves. This one's kind of like a tank top in a way, but a little bit more thinner. Shows up a little. Basically, it's kind of like a tank top in a way, but a closed tank top. And she shows off her abdomen, shows off her legs, and that's simply. And she got rid of the coverings that she wore previously. She has sort of like a skirt in a way, and she's got like the armor stuff she's enough wearing. And it kind of acts like shorts underneath her skirt that she wears. Choji pretty much basically looks like a freaking samurai. Basically, he wears an all red attire with gauntlets, and he grew out his hair. And also, it looked like that he does not wear his headband. I think he wears his headband. His headband's actually more smaller now than it was in the first series. But otherwise, though, not much change for some of these characters. Oh, we also got a chance to see Tamaru's new outfit, which pretty much looks like a robe with a sash around it. And she wears gloves. Oh, yeah, and the robe is like all black, and it shows up part of her top of her chest. But that's really it. Oh, yeah, and if you ever see Tamaru in the show, for some reason, I have no idea why the designers thought this was a good idea. She's got 4 pigtails. Not kidding, she really does. She's got 4 freaking pigtails. And she's on her 3rd outfit because she changed her outfit later on in the show. Like after the tuning exam, she changed her attire. Gaara, from what I can tell, pretty much kept the same attire as well. Except that during the jump, he got pretty much named the Kazekage of this hidden sand village. While in the case of Naruto's friends, almost all of them except for Neji were promoted to Choni. Neji was promoted to a Juni. And during the course while he's reunited with the characters, Sakura shows up her monster strength, where it has increased over the course of the past 3 years, where she's actually basically dug Naruto into the ground, where she just throws him, he just creates like a ditch in the ground. It was so funny. And the fact he met up with Konohamaru and his friends, and everyone was so happy to see him back after like 3 years. Though it's sometimes explained that it's 2.5 years, but it's actually been 3 years. And pretty much Tsunade is still the Hokage. So pretty much at this point, she's been Hokage for about 3 years at this point. So, yes. So when she retired, she only been Hokage about 4 or 5 years at most. And of course, she had to retire. But otherwise, though, not much change for the characters. That much. I mean, yeah, they got new clothes, but personality-wise, the only one that really got changed was, of course, Sakura and Naruto himself. Pretty much a lot of the characters stay pretty much the same in the course of their personalities, in a way. But in the course of while Naruto's reunited with friends, Gaara is attacked by Deidara of the Akatsuki. Well, basically, you get a chance to see Deidara and Sasori for the first time in the show. Basically, Sasori is seen like sort of like a scorpion, where he's got like a scorpion form. He's got a metal tail. But Deidara, And of course they have frequent arguments of what art is. Data's argument, art is an explosion, while Sasori's argument for art is that art is eternal. I kind of like his I like his perspective when it comes to art, but his explanation is that is completely different. Data pretty much is known for being an explosives expert, though at times he's referred to as an explosive artist. Yeah, it's referred to in the filler episode that he refers himself as an explosive artist, not an explosives expert, because he carries clay explosives, which he activates with his chakra. He's an earth-based chakra usually. Yeah, they explain more of the chakra stuff in part in this series than they do in the original one. So very much he launches a full-scale attack on Gar himself, who pretty much and he also launches this big, huge clay bomb. Basically wants to and he tries to drop it on the Sand Village, but Gar prevents it in time and pretty much saves the Sand Village from being destroyed by this guy. And of course, Gar is soon captured by him and taken to a Akatsuki hideout. And of course, Gar is pretty much drained of and the reason why he's captured by the Akatsuki, because the Akatsuki are going after all the tailed beasts, and they decided to go after his first because, well, he has the one tailed beast, get him right away. But while Gar is being taken out of the village, his brother Konkaru decided to take on Sasori. Though, here's the weird thing about Data. He refers to him as my man Sasori. He has sort of a modern lingo in a way when it comes to him. Sasori is more calm, and he tends to be very impatient. It's like, he has to, I don't like to be kept waiting, and he also says, I don't like to keep people waiting. He's very impatient. That's just the way he is. And it's later shown in flashbacks that is proven to be true. And his true form is not shown at this point. It's shown a little bit later on in the season what his true form is. And of course, takes on Konkaru and pretty much almost destroys Konkaru's puppets. So so he poisons Konkaru and he takes up a piece of his like mask he wears. Excuse me. And he takes that with him to use later on. Basically, that was a good movie he did, despite the fact he was poisoned. Konkaru's new attire is simply the same outfit he was wearing before, just take out the symbol off his chest. That's really it, and he still wears face paint. But I think they changed his face paint up a little bit. But yeah, because the Naruto is trying on a mission, originally was to be a different mission, but because of Gaara getting kidnapped, basically he sent out to free Gaara. And he's willing to do it. He really does want to help Gaara, because he considers Gaara, he really wants to help him, because he's a Jujutsu like himself. And of course, he's racing toward it, and of course, Team Guy later meets up with him later at the Sand Village. But they originally had no place to look for him. But Konkaru, after of course he got cured of his poison, thanks to Sakura and her medical ninjutsu training, she pretty much cures him. She develops an antidote for the poison after extracting most of it from his body. She cures him, and of course he asks for his puppets, because he has a piece of Sasori. And he's referred to as Sasori as of the Red Sand. Apparently he deserted the village 20 years ago. That's according to Konkaru. And Paku, one of Kakashi's hounds, and before they send out a mission, they get to replay the bell trading thing from the start of part 1, excuse me, and the start of the first season. But things go differently, and they actually get the bells. Though how they get the bells is quite ingenious, because the fact that Kakashi got a new copy of Makeout, he got a copy of Jiraiya's newest novel. Basically, he basically barely had any time to read it, because they kept like counteracting everything he does, and it was so funny seeing him get so beaten. And just before he says, "I didn't say start," and Naruto's pretty much doing the same thing, but then all of a sudden, because he had made actually 3 shadow claws, he turned one of them into a demon shuriken. He actually had another one come up. He had another one right behind him with a kunai knife right behind his back. And Tsunade's like, and she's of course watching his training. He's like, not too shabby. That's not too bad. Even Kakashi was impressed. And the whole point of this episode was simply just to show off exactly what Naruto had learned during his training. And of course, Sakura basically had the question like, was our training a waste of time with Tsunade? And no, it was not a waste of time, because they proved and they got the bells by deception, by trying to spoil the ending of the book. And of course, since the Shuriken basically, because he blocked this because he didn't want to be spoiled of the ending, he decided to cover his ears. But because the Shuriken could read lips, he closed his eyes. And then when he woke up, and then we opened his eyes up, Sakura and Naruto got the bells. Yeah, I thought that was so hilarious. Yeah, pretty much Kakashi's doing the same tricks he did during the last time, but they've learned from the previous time. So yeah, and Team 7 is renamed to Team Kakashi. Yeah. So they go on the mission, they go and they find Gaara, and they chase down, basically, and of course they team up with an advisor from the Sand Village named Granny Chio. That's really what she's identified as. She's basically Sasuke's grandmother. And when she's informed about basically what Sasori did, that Sasori was one of the people who helped kidnap Gaara, she's like, yeah, I do want to help, because I want to see my grandson again. That's literally her perspective. And because she's retired, she can actually go out and help them, despite the fact Tamaru wants to send some Sand Shinobi out to go help them. Basically, the council are complete dicks, and they say no at first, but later on they do send some Sand Ninjas to help Gaara later on, after Conqueror is fully healed. And they go and find him, and they find and when the thing that Gaara's what Shikaku was put into, it's referred to as the Gecko statue. I'm not kidding. And it's basically, and when you see the hologram, the astral projections, they sound like the hologram projector things used in Star Wars. I'm not kidding. When you watch these episodes, it's like you're hearing sound effects from frickin' Star Wars. Like the lasers for the chakra for one of the characters I heard, that I'm going to spin a little bit. It sounds like the lasers in Star Wars. I am not kidding. It's like the people who did the animation were huge fans of Star Wars, loved the sound effects so much, they just simply stole sound effects from Star Wars. I'm not kidding. That's simply the way it is. And of course, when they get to the cave, this is of course after a while, they had to basically, because there's a 5 seal thing, so Team Guy goes to get the other 4 seals, while Kakashi gets a seal on the boulder. But the only way that they can do this is remove all 5 at the same time. And the way they can do this easily is with shortwave radios. I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty ingenious for Guy to do. Of course, Lee basically had his mic up too loud. He had to be told a couple times. So, yeah, it got fixed. So, pretty much the plan was this. After get all 5 tags removed, Sakura would smash the boulder with her monster strength. And yeah, that's what they did. So, pretty much, yeah, and when they got to the place, Gaara was already unconscious, and the Shakaku had been removed, though they did not know he was actually dead. So, and Naruto was getting so ticked off, and of course the Nine-Tailed Chakra was starting to come out of him, and he really wanted to kill Deidara so badly for what he did to Gaara. So Deidara basically he basically decided to go out of the cave with Gaara, and basically Kakashi and Naruto decided to chase after, while Sakura and Granny Chio decided to take on Sasori, which he took off his cloak, and bam, you see his puppet form. Basically, that's not actually his actual form. Of course, later on, after Sakura destroys the scorpion puppet, you get a chance to see the real Sasori, where he looks exactly the same. And it's later explained the reason why. Because he turned himself into a human puppet. That is literally the reason why he looks so freaking young. And of course, he keeps some chakra. There's one part, he can open up a part of his chest, which is wood, by the way. And he spills up chakra, and you get a chance to see him basically using 100 puppets. And while he says Granny Chio can use her 10 puppets to take down a fortress, he says, I use my 100 puppets to take down an entire nation. Yeah. And of course, this is actually shown much later. This is actually shown, I believe, in season 15, I believe it is, in a flashback. Yeah, this is actually later shown in a flashback of how he did this. But they fight, and of course, Sasori is defeated. And as a reward for defeating him, after a while battling, he gives them some info where they can find Sasuke. And of course, Deidara basically, after Naruto battling him, of course, he decided to blow himself up after losing both of his. Well, he lost his first arm thanks to Gaara. He lost his second arm thanks to Naruto. And of course, he decided to blow himself up, and it turns out later on that was really not true. He actually survived it. Yeah. And of course, they reported back to this. They basically, so because Gaara was dying, was already dead, they decided to so Granny Shield decided to use the jutsu she used already once before to help Sakura basically heal her of her wounds because she got seriously wounded during her battle with Sasori. And so, they used the same thing on Gaara to restore him to life, and Granny Shield was nearly run to life. So basically, Naruto volunteered to use some of his chakra to bring Gaara back to life. And when he came back, it was like a miracle that he came back. And not only saw Team Kakashi and Team Guy, he also saw all around them, basically the Sand Shinobi decided to show up as reinforcements to help him. And Gaara was so happy to see everybody. So, and of course, because Granny Shield had died, they decided, when they got back to the Sand Village, they decided to have it, because she was an advisor and a lot of people respected her. They allowed her they allowed her body to go in first into the village before Gaara went inside the village himself, as a sign of respect to her for sacrificing her life so that Gaara can live. I'm like, that is brilliant stroke of that's actually very nice of Gaara to do. And of course, they decided later on, after they spent a little bit of time in the Sand Village, and of course they had to go back to the Leaf Village to report this because, well, they had to report this. Gaara used the same because Naruto was not good with shaking hands, so Gaara used the same to kind of force Naruto to shake his hand. But Naruto didn't have a problem with it. You could see on his face, yeah, he doesn't have a problem with it. So basically, Gaara used the same, just basically nudge him to shake his hand. But basically, Naruto, at this point, definitely has earned Gaara's respect. So they walk off and they go back to the Leaf Village, spend a little bit of time, and of course, at the end of the season, we get a chance to see. Now, before at the start of the episode, when you get sort of a sneak preview of episode 51 in the following season, where you get a chance to see, well, Team Kakashi basically meet up with Sasuke. And we get sort of an introduction to Sai. Not really a good introduction. You just see him there. But, excuse me. You got a much better introduction to him at the finale, where they see him and he's asked to join. He's ordered to join Team Kakashi to get some info on Orochimaru. And the person ordered to do this is the head of an organization in the Amu Black Ops, known as the Foundation, named Danzo. My least favorite character of the series because the guy is so arrogant. And of course, I couldn't wait for this character to get killed off, but I had to wait almost 10 seasons to get this character to die. I just could not stand this character. I'm not kidding. I had to wait till season 10 for this character to die. Yeah, 9 seasons because I couldn't stand him at all. So, yeah. So they go out, and of course, this is the season also we get a chance to see Team 8, what their new looks are. And Shino had got new coats. Yeah, he's wearing 2 coats, and he's got a backpack strapped to his back. Akamaru basically grew to the size of a giant wolf. Kiba got a completely new attire. Though he looks pretty much the same personality-wise. Hanada got a new coat and new pants. And she does pretty much the same thing she did in part 1, which was have her face go red and faint at the sight of Naruto. Yeah, because she has a crush on him. Not kidding. Yeah. And this is pretty much her only appearance in Season 2. She has never returned again to the following season. I'm not kidding. Her only appearance in Season 1 is like 1 episode for 1 scene, and she's on screen for about 3 minutes. Yeah. Basically, that's pretty much Team 8's appearance in one episode. They have a quick 3-minute appearance, and of course, they get introduced to Sai, uh, because he's added to the team, and of course, they go out to go get Sasuke back at one of Orochimaru's high. Well, they don't know. All they know is that basically get meet up with some spy, the sorcery, and of course, because Kakashi was injured on the previous mission, he got basically replaced by a new character, Yamato, who is an Amba Black Ops and is an old friend of Kakashi's from the Amba Black Ops, though he's called Tenzo. That was his code name in Amba Black Ops, though I think that was his actual real name was Tenzo. So he decided to adapt the name Yamato. And the reason why he's recruited to be the team captain is because he has the first Hokage cells in his body, so he can control Naruto's Nine-Tailed Fox chakra thing. Yeah, and of course, in the previous season, when the cloak came out, the only way it was sealed up was by a piece of postage paper that put on Naruto's head, and that stopped him. In the case of this season, he pretty much got from, well, he actually started with 2 tails. This time he went to 4 tails and went into full-blown, kind of like very bad Red Beast form. His Nine-Tail form, anyways. So he used this form to attack Orochimaru after, of course, they found out that Kabuto was the spy. But it turns out the jutsu that Sasuke performed had been cured. So they decided to just, well, go along with it. And of course, Yamato posed as Sasori, asking him certain questions that basically keep Kabuto would know for him asking, like, is Sasuke still at the hideout? Like, where is he? Where's Orochimaru? And it turns out it was all trapped by Orochimaru himself, which Naruto basically got ticked off at this, and pretty much attacked Orochimaru on sight because he can't stand the guy. And he got to the point where he turned into basically a form of the Nine-Tailed Fox, basically 4 tails. And while he was taken on, basically he got to a point where Orochimaru had to withdraw, and while Naruto was in this form, he accidentally hit Sakura. He gave her an injury on an arm that basically was very hard for her to heal. And when Naruto basically got back normal, he was asking Sakura, like, who did that to you? And Sakura, that were feelings like, it was nothing, it was something during the battle. And of course, Yamato later explains to him in private, while Sai tries to form his own separate deal with Orochimaru, or something. But prior to this, they actually had sort of a character development with him, basically revealed he's actually a good artist, and he has a picture book, which they later look at. Yeah, so you get some early character development when it comes to Sai. Yeah, and apparently Orochimaru was given some special information, and the special information is revealed a little bit later to be Abu Black Ops members, which are given to Orochimaru. Because apparently Danzo wanted to form an alliance with him for some reason, though it never really place. And apparently he had left one of his ink vials, and he left his book by accident. And of course, while Sakura is reading it, Yamato tells Naruto that it was Naruto himself, who actually hit Sakura. And Naruto realizes, though, he also did the same thing to Jiraiya accidentally. So he's accidentally hit 2 people. Though, when he later tells everybody else about this, I'm surprised Ino does not, like, smack him for doing it. For hitting Sakura. Now, him hitting Sakura was by complete accident. Anybody can see that by watching the episode. Basically, he was not in control, so hitting her was by complete accident. And while she was recovering, he kept accidentally calling her a monster for some reason, because she has monster strength. And she didn't like to be called a monster. I have no idea why, but that's just the way she is. Also, Sai basically got their nerves early on in the journey, and also he called Sakura ugly, and he basically insulted Sasuke. But even though Sakura stopped Naruto from hitting him for insulting him, she decided to punch him in the face. Yeah, it's so really weird. And And he's like, yeah, are you going to hit me again? Yeah, that's simply his reasoning for whatever he does, that he wants to get hit again. Because the guy is like emotionless. He's basically like a Vulcan. But yeah, he literally gets his own emotions. Like, and when you see him, he's got pale white skin. And as far as I know, this has never been explained at all. So they get to the hideout, stuff happens. Well, of course, Yamato, Sakura, and uh, Naruto get to the hideout. They basically sort of break in, but excuse me, they get Sai. They get him outside. They talk to him, figure out what the heck is going on, and it also turns out that he also has a bingo book for some people, basically, and some people get crossed out. And of course, he's there. And the reason why he decided to do all the stuff he did, because he was ordered to kill Sasuke. That later turned out to be happening. And there's also some good character moment prior to that where Naruto meets up with Sai and Thing and have sort of a one-on-one conversation with him. A very decent conversation, and it gets information, and gets him sort of the inspiration to finish up his picture book, basically in the middle. And this, of course, gets followed up much later on in the show during the Great Ninja War. Yeah, but yeah, when it comes to the season has great development over the course of, even though it's introducing two new characters. Yamato, there's still a bit of a mystery to him in a way. Not much is known about him at this point, though it's explored later on, his backstory. But in the case of this season, not much of character development. Sai gets more development than he does, and you also see a little bit of development for Naruto and Sakura. And of course, seeing Sasuke again was something. Though his outfit was completely different when he was last seen. Basically, he's wearing this like white top with his clan symbol on his back, with basically a thing pulled the zipper down, showing up his chest because he just basically woke up, and he wears like a rope, similar rope that Orochimaru wears, though it's tied differently, and he's got a sword. Now I love the scene when he meets up with Sai. He's like, "This is my replacement." Okay, fine. Probably because he's got a sword. And of course he has Naruto in his sights, basically he's taking his sword out basically to kill him. And of course Sai caught him and says, "That's the correct block." And then of course he does something similar to this again, and Yamato tries to block him, and he says to him, "That's the wrong block." And of course, also during the course of the battle, he figures out that Naruto is host to Nine-Tailed Fox. Apparently he never knew this at all. He never knew that the Nine-Tailed Fox was inside of him. I'm like, he has known this guy for like almost 4 years, and he's known this guy for a long time, and he never knew that the Nine-Tailed Fox was inside of him, and his brother never told him? Okay, fine. And when you see him, he looks really weird. His body is bubbling for some reason, and of course he gets sealed away, and he says like, tells him like, this is probably not the first time we see a Sharingan. He says, "Yeah, the last time I saw a Sharingan was basically with Manchuria." And Sasuke, who is part of that same clan, has no idea who Manchuria is until he gets researched about it later and meets the real life Manchuria. Yeah, but he gets away. But they later the team learns to trust Sai. So yes, and we also get a chance to see over the course of the season. We get a chance to see the Wujutsu that the Yamato knows, especially forming a house, which was really interesting for them to do. He actually does this a few times over the course of the series, where he actually forms an actual house with his Wujutsu. And the house is simply just a quick 2-story house with 1 room. Yeah, and everybody sleeps in it. I'm not kidding. They even do the same thing in season 6 as well. So yeah, 2 good seasons that start out the series. But I'll get the seasons 3, 4, and maybe 5 in the next part to this review. Okay, so still 2 good seasons, good storylines, got some good setup, got introduced a few new characters. Sai is not one of my top favorites, but he's an interesting character nonetheless. He's a little more interesting than Sasuke. I got credit for that. And here's the weird thing: by the time of the film The Last comes out, his outfit never changes. And his outfit is simply a short top with a sword, long pants, boots, and gloves. Excuse me, that's his attire. And this is his attire the whole time he's seen. The only time he wears a slightly different outfit is in season 20, is like one time in season 21. And of course when he's eating out with Team 10 in the following season, which I'll get to the next part. Otherwise though, he wears the same exact outfit the whole damn time. Kind of the same thing with Naruto, with the exception of his, well, other clothes. He wears like a t-shirt or something like that. But yeah, good part. So next episode, 3, 4, and maybe 5 for the seasons for Naruto Shippuden. Okay, but until then, I will see you there. Bye.